Hey Super Dolphins, welcome to Dolphins Do Art Day 2020, the weirdest year ever. Sorry we can't be together this year, but we're going to have a lot of fun anyway. My name is Annalise, and I'm going to teach you all about self-portraits. Let's get started with what we'll need in order to make a self-portrait. The first thing I'm going to use is a blank piece of paper. I'm also going to use a pen and some crayons. But you can use whatever you've got. You can use markers, paints, whatever you've got handy. I also have a mirror here. I'm going to use it just for reference as I do my self-portrait. I'm going to look at myself and think about the features on my face. And I might draw them just as I see them, and I might not. I'm going to show you some famous self-portraits, and we're going to talk about the different styles that you can use. Once we get started, you can use your mirror and you can draw exactly what you see in it, or you can get a little bit more creative. Let's get started. The first self-portrait that we're going to talk about today was done by a female artist named Frida Kahlo. Frida was one of the most famous self-portrait artists, as she left us with 55 different portraits of herself. She was born in Mexico, and as a child she was disabled. She spent a lot of time in bed. She had polio, and so it meant that she couldn't go out a lot. And so she found things to do with her time. We all have a lot of time on our hands right now, right? One of the things that some of us have been doing is getting creative. That's what Frida did. She used her time to make drawings and paintings. She really enjoyed it. But as she grew up and got healthier and stronger, she was able to go on to do other things. She was a very promising student and was well on her way to become a doctor. But then bad luck came back around. When she was only 18 years old, she was in a very bad accident. She was riding a bus and they were hit by another truck. A rail, a handrail, a metal pole went through Frida, all the way through. It caused a lot of damage, and it put Frida right back in that bed that she had been stuck in as a child. But instead of giving up, Frida took out her paintbrushes, and she went back to her childhood hobby of painting and drawing the things that she could see. Frida's self-portrait that we're going to talk about today is called Self-Portrait with Thorn Necklace and Hummingbird. We see the thorn necklace. And it's known that Frida painted this right after a bad breakup with somebody that she really loved. What do you think that thorn necklace might be a symbol of? Maybe the pain that she was in? We also see a monkey in Frida's painting. Sometimes folks say, I feel like I've got a monkey on my back. And it's a way of saying, I'm really bugged by this situation or this thing or this person. Maybe Frida drew this monkey to show that something had a hold of her that she just couldn't get away from, but it was causing her great pain. If you look closely, the monkey is actually tugging on that thorn necklace, causing her to bleed even more. Frida also drew some hummingbirds above her head. Even though this is sort of a sad story, and we know Frida was feeling a lot of pain, it looks like maybe she saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Hummingbirds are a symbol of good luck. Maybe Frida was drawing a hummingbird because she saw good luck coming. Or maybe she drew the hummingbirds to try to give herself some good luck. Either way, we see that Frida is telling us a story, and she's telling us exactly how she's feeling. The next self-portrait that we'll talk about was done by an American artist. He was born in 1894, and he was a very famous guy named Norman Rockwell. He was also a very funny guy, and Norman paints his self-portrait full of humor. Let's take a look at this. This is Norman Rockwell's triple self-portrait. Why do we call this a triple self-portrait? Because there's 3 Normans, that's right. Norman was known for being a funny guy, and that shows in this portrait. Look at the top of his canvas. You see that helmet hanging there? The story is, Norman went into a shop in Paris, an antique store, and he saw this helmet, and he thought, man, that must be the helmet of a Roman soldier, somebody really important from way back when. He bought it with pride and was carrying it home when he noticed a fire. And he noticed all of the firemen had on the exact same helmet that he was carrying. Maybe Norman uses this symbolism as a way to laugh at himself and take things a little less seriously. We also notice that Norman's glasses aren't exactly squeaky clean. They're all fogged up. Norman laughed and said that he did this so that he had an excuse to paint himself maybe a little more handsome than he really was in real life. Maybe if his glasses were fogged, he couldn't quite see all the wrinkles and imperfections. Sort of like using a filter on a selfie, huh? The funniest thing that I see in Norman's picture has to do with the wastebasket. Look closely at this wastebasket. Do you see a little bit of smoke coming out of it? What else is on fire in this portrait? That's right, Norman's pipe. He always had a pipe in his hand, even one night when he was painting in his studio. Before he left that night, he tapped out his ashes in the wastebasket and turned out the lights and locked up the studio and went home. The next morning, he found that his studio and his life's work had burned to the ground. Norman's ashes had caught that wastebasket on fire and caused the whole studio to burn down. 20 years after that fire, Norman sits here painting his triple self-portrait, and he's able to take what at the time must have been a devastating disaster and make light of the situation, laugh at it, have fun with it, but still tell the viewer, this is a part of my life and it's a part of who I am now. So the final self-portrait that we'll look at today was by an artist named Salvador Dali. Salvador was born in Figueres, Spain. He was always known as a troublesome kid. He had a lot of trouble in school. It was hard to sit still. He was always getting fussed at. Do any of you ever feel that way? Like you just can't do anything right? One way that Dali was able to deal with his active behavior was to put pen to paper, brush to paper, to draw, to use art as a way to cope. You can see in Dali's art that he had a wonderful mind, albeit a strange one. Here we'll look at Dali's self-portrait called Soft Self-Portrait with Fried Bacon. So Dali's picture isn't exactly what he saw in the mirror, is it? He painted himself a little differently than what he saw in real life. We see that his face is melting, and it looks like it's propped up by crutches. Maybe Dali feels like he's losing control. Maybe he just feels like he's melting away. Maybe he feels like he's going to be a puddle soon. Have you ever felt that way? Well, you prop yourself back up and you keep going. Grab some crutches and smush yourself back into place. Like Dali. Now where are his eyeballs? And what are those little things in the corner? Ants? I think they're eating away at him. Maybe something's bugging him like that monkey on Frida's back. Or maybe he offered himself to the ants. Maybe he's offering himself as a meal to those ants. Maybe he's willing to be eaten alive for the sake of art. Who really knows? Dali uses this symbolism to tell a story, but it's his story and only he really knows what he was thinking when he painted this. Now it's time to get started on our own self-portraits. Are you going to paint yourself exactly like you see yourself in the mirror, just like Norman Rockwell? Or maybe you'll paint yourself sort of like you see yourself, but with lots of symbolism like hummingbirds and thorn necklaces like Frida. Or maybe you're feeling just a little bit crazy, just a little bit melty, and you're going to paint yourself the way you feel. Paint your feelings, paint your emotions, paint your thoughts, your dreams, your fears. Tell us a story with your self-portrait. Tell us something about you. Be sure to share your pictures with us. We want to see how they came out. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.